Hello folks, it is Friday. Congratulations on making it to the end of your week. If you want to support the channel this Christmas, then please head on over to Composite Games. I'd like to keep them extremely busy over the holiday period and of course help them out because they are a smaller store and they are doing a lot for the channel. So if you are getting anything this holiday season, please make sure you head over there, use the promo code Northern Exile, which is down below, for 5% off at checkout. You already get 20% off, which is awesome, because that means you get 25% off at checkout if you use my promo code. So it's down below. Go and give them some love if you're getting some models. Also, if you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below, and the real subscribe button, which is the little bell icon next to it, is down below too. If you don't click that, you'll never know that I'm online, because people get buried on the algorithm and things like that. And also, Patreon is down below. If you want to catch any of these videos nice and early, a day early usually, and talk to me in the comments there, please go onto the Patreon and buy me a beer. It doesn't matter what kind of tier you are on. It doesn't matter. You will all get free access to the early access videos. Also, the Discord is free. You don't need to pay to use it. It is free. It is all there for you to come and have a good time and talk to us about the hobby and stuff. Or if you're struggling with mental health or things like that, come on the Discord, have a little chat with us, and we will see if we can help you out. So, get ready for this. I love this Danny Trejo. This Danny Trejo Ogrin. I'm just going to fast forward it a little bit to where I can see him properly. There he is. Oh, look how glorious he is. Anyway, let's go and have a little look at some hobby nightmares, shall we? Because we have a lot to talk about. Because there are some here that are a little bit infuriating. Or I've been warned the last one today will get right under my skin. We will see. We will see. Mayhem says, "Hey Northern, I hope you are well." Yes, I am. Thank you. It's Friday. Everyone should be well. Oh, by the way, if you're working over the weekend, thank you for helping the world go round whilst we're all having some time off. You're a Chad. You're a real one. Thank you. I found your channel by complete accident and I've been subscribed for a couple of weeks. Good lad. In that time, I have listened to hours of the Hobby Nightmare series, often back to back. Suffice to say, I am hooked, and it is eye-opening stuff. Upon self-reflection, I absolutely had to jot down some of my own experiences. Please take or leave whichever ones you like, but having listened to others, I had to write my own down. If anything, for a little self-meditation and reflection. Yeah, that's something that people don't normally come up and talk about, is the self-reflection of things that you... Have you ever been in the shower? Segue. But I know a few of you have done this. Have you ever been in the shower and you're just like washing your hair or something, and for no reason you'll think about something that you've done in your life that's really, really, really cringe, and you just sort of go, "Ah!" until you just shout it away. You just, "Ah!" and then and it goes away, right? And then you're back to normal again. Have you ever done that? Because I do that. I do that a lot. And I think what Hobby Nightmares lets people do is if they engage with it and they write it down, they send them in to me. Even if I don't read them out, they've got someone replying to them and reading them. It does come across as some therapy, some self-medication there, which I quite like. It's pretty cool. Anyway. Secondly, he says, kudos to your moves at mental health awareness. As a former soldier of over 22 years, this is a subject close to my heart. If you wish, I have my own feelings on the subject. If you ever get the time, we could maybe discuss. Yeah, send me a message, man. We'll talk about it. Anyway, enough of that. I appreciate you're a very busy person with a life, so I'll get cracking with my ramblings. Okay. I'll get through as many of these as I can, man. Some of them are very, very, very funny. But I'll get through these as I can. So, Mayhem says, Warhammer in its entirety began for me in the early 90s as a young boy. At this time, we had no Games Workshop store, only a local hobby store. But they would sell Space Marine sprue, which had 2 Marines on it for 60 whole pence. Wow. That must have been back in the day. So, with their Marine paint set and £1.20 worth of Marines, I set to work. The rich kid at the bottom of my street had Space Marines, and another lad the next road over got the Space Hulk set, but he was much more interested in Lego. So a deal was negotiated and struck. A story for another time. And before I knew it, I was balls deep in plastic miniatures in need of painting. It wasn't long before I glued some wonky Marines with questionable poses and paint schemes to go and battle the rich kid. Needless to say, he was unforgiving in his critique, being twice my age and a half-decent painter. After he had finished laughing at my paint skills, he agreed to teach me the basics of 40k. Suffice to say, I was hooked on my newly discovered hobby. Yeah, kids will be kids, man. That's one thing that, when Marge says on The Simpsons, kids can be so cruel. Well, yeah, I mean, they're kids. It is what it is. I don't really judge kids when they're that young. But hey, as soon as you get into your mid to late teens, that's where I'm like, yeah, don't be a douche. Don't be a douche. Like, you know what I mean? You need to slap. Don't do that. Anyway, the next life journey was starting in year 7. And the big leap... So year 7 is the start of secondary school. So I think it's middle school for you American troglodytes out there. The next life journey was starting year 7. And the big leap to secondary school. I knew no one at my new school, so kept my nerdiness a secret until I made a few friends. After a short while, I met John, another guy at school, of course. I would be worried if John was not somebody at school. You just met some bloke at school who's hanging around. And we became friends. He was a fellow Warhammer geek, and we would spend hours poring over any available literature dealing with Space Marines lore, etc. We saved our pocket money and went halves on the 2nd edition box set. He was an Orc player, and I a Space Marine, so it worked out rather well with the codex, etc. By this point, we even had a Games Workshop store in town to fritter away our pocket money on all manner of models. Hours spent listening to Iron Maiden whilst painting and gaming. You all know the rest. Wow, yeah, that sounds like a good childhood, man. I had a similar time. In school, I had friends who were into Warhammer, and for a while, everybody in school was into Warhammer for like a while. I think it was like year 8, year 9, everybody was into, like, the ages of 14 to 15, everybody was doing it, everybody was into it. And then when other people moved on, I kind of just stuck around. But I was luckily one of those kids who gelled in with the, how do I put it, preppy crowd. I gelled in with them, and they didn't seem to mind my Warhammer habit, and I was also, like, a friend of the nerds. I was kind of like that John Dorian guy on Scrubs when he says, king of the nerds. And they literally, I was like the normal nerd. So if the nerds needed anything from the normals, they would come to me. And if the normals needed anything from the nerds, or to ask one of them out, or whatever, they would come to me. That sort of thing, and that's what I would do. And I ended up dating on both sides, which was really freaky as well. But a smorgasbord of people. That's what you're supposed to do when you're younger. Not shagging, obviously, but just holding hands in the playground and all that sort of rubbish. Anyway, growing into my teenage years, however, wasn't easy, and to put it politely, I was an angry little twat with a hairstring sugar on my temper. Yeah, we've all been there, dude. Not a great mix of tabletop gaming, but it was kept in check with some herbal remedies, a fondness for hooch alcopops, and my genuine hobby, and I loved all aspects of it. Thursday night was the local Games Workshop store gaming night, and John and I went down quite often to play. The turnout those days was really great. We could even bring and use terrain we had made at home. I was particularly proud at the time of a massive industrial complex made from Pringle tubes and light bulb boxes. In hindsight, it was pretty wank. Imagine a fire-damaged kill team starter set and you're halfway there. And the rest of the guys enjoyed the 3-dimensional aspect of the games, I guess. Perhaps I was ahead of my time, like Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses. I think you're patting yourself on the back a bit too much there, mate, with your fucking Pringles box, but, we'll move on. One particular night, I was playing a fellow teenager. Name escapes me, it was forever ago. Mike, let's just keep it Mike. Yeah, it's always Mike. The poor Mikes and Daves of the world, man. Come on. Who, shall we say, wasn't magnanimous in victory. Oh, wow, okay. Bad winners are worse than bad losers. I'm going to say that now. Bad winners are worse than bad losers. A bad loser, I've said it before, a bad loser, at least you've won the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're... Like, I've had this happen to me before. I've had a bad loser with me before. And many times. But at least I've won the game, so I can go, well, he's a douche, but, haha, I won. You can just sort of go away thinking, well, at least I won. I get that, It's not about winning, really, but when somebody's being a sore loser and really annoying you, it kind of is. You're like, oh, well, at least I won. But, like, if somebody's a bad winner and they've curb-stomped you, that's like a double whammy. That's like, kicking you while you're down. That's the worst, man. I cannot stand bad winners. My ex was a bad winner. She was a bad winner. That's why I never mention her name really on the channel. But yeah, she was awful. She was awful as a winner. Not you, Lee, if you're watching. Not you. But yeah, like, yeah, she was a bad winner. This girl was a terrible. Like, even I played a board game with her and her parents. Bear in mind, this is the first time I'd played a board game or been around her house, basically, in the States. And her parents are very nice. We're playing this game together. I think it's like Catan or something, Settlers of Catan. And she wins, and literally she just starts taking the piss out of everybody at the table. Like, you know, at the start it was kind of jokey, and I was like, oh, yeah, she went, yeah, suck my dick and all that. And I was like, okay, it's very funny to have your woman telling you to suck her dick. That's funny to me. I just thought that was pretty funny. And she just wouldn't let it go, though. And in the end, I was like, wow, you're actually quite a bad winner, aren't you? She was, no, I'm just a winner. Okay, fair enough. And again, when I look back, that was like one of the first warning signs when neither of her parents like stepped in and were like, listen, shut the fuck up. Don't be that much of a dick. You know, your boyfriend's here for the first time in the house. You mind not doing that? You know, but yeah, warning signs. So yeah, bad winners are the worst. Mayhem says, I consider myself lucky. I had a good upbringing and my parents taught me the rights and wrongs. Well, but this particular night, I just lost my cool. Allow me to explain. I was playing my thickly painted Marines against some Eldar. An even table, it was anybody's win for the taking. The thing was, every time he killed one of my Space Marines, Mike would air punch and hush yes, until he went red and a vein popped out on the side of his head. Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this guy is not getting laid, but like, I'm just going to put that out there. After that, he would wave at whichever slain Marine was on the table and flick it over onto its side with his finger. Oh, no. No, cross the line. You crossed the line, dude. Somebody that did that to one of my Grey Knights, I'd be flicking him. You know what I mean? Like in a non-sexual way. Like it would actually be like, what are you doing? Why don't you do that again? And I'm going to take one of your models and throw it on the floor. That's literally what you're doing right now. I haven't asked you to. Please do not touch my models. Okay? You know, I get pissed off if something's dead and somebody passes it back to me. Don't pass it back to me, right? And just call my attention to it. Say, do you mind picking it up? Or do you mind removing that from the table? Or do you mind, you know, without being a dick about it? You know, don't pick it up and hand it to me. It's not your model. I've worked really hard on these. I don't want your sweaty, grubby, greasy, neck-beard fingers on my models. Thank you. Just don't do it. And unless somebody invites you to... It's like... Treat somebody's models like their crotch, right? Unless somebody invites you to touch it, don't touch it. It's not yours. Keep your hands away from it, right? You know? Just saying. You know, it's not cool. Each time this happened, he chipped away a little more at my sportsmanship, character, and above all, temper. Dude, you're giving yourself far too much of a hard time. This dude should have had his... Not violently, I'm not being serious, but like, you know, this dude should have had a stern telling off by now. I'm sure he could see the cracks and he kept pressing for a reaction. After a while, I lost it. After another vein-popping dice roll, Mike leant over the table to begin his ritual finger-flicking of my models, but I grabbed his hand. Now, I know I shouldn't have touched him, but I'd had enough. I told him quietly that, if you flick another one of my models, I will snap your finger off. Before he had a chance to reply, I shouted as loud as my lungs would allow, you absolute wanker, just to make sure I had made my message to him clear. Do you know what this reminds me of? There was a show back in the day called Balls of Steel, right? And it's a thing that me and Steady talk about quite a lot. And there's this guy, and I'm sure a lot of you will know who I'm talking about. There's this guy. And what Balls of Steel is, it's a show where they just wind people up. They just annoy people in quite extreme ways. But yeah, it's quite clever, the way some of them do it. So there's this one talk show, or like a game show. It's kind of like Mastermind, like a quiz show. Quite serious quiz show. Where they have a guy who is really into Anne Frank. Like, really into Anne Frank. in a weird way. Knows everything about her. And he's wearing this shirt that's kind of like, it's got a flame pattern on it. And he's clearly middle-aged and like, you know, to the back end of middle age. Quite posh. And he's sitting there. And so basically when he answers the questions right, the person who's doing this show tells him he's wrong. And this goes on for like 10 minutes. So every now and again that they'll let him get one right. You're just to egg him on and pull him, string him along. And in the end, he's just like, I'm sorry, your questions are fine, but your answers are not right. And the guy's like, well, the host is like, well, it says here that you're wrong. And if you think you're right, then fair enough. And he just loses it and says, I don't think so. I know so. Like, I just put in like a really, really posh voice. And then just leans over and says, get it? You know, that's just a really amazing... Go and look at it on YouTube. Pause the video, or after you finish, go and look at it. It is so funny. Like, I giggle now even thinking about it. And this just reminds me of that. When you start off quiet, and then you just can't control it, and then you go really loud. If you flick another one of my models, I'll snap your finger off, you absolute wanker! And I'm just like doing that. Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. My neighbour's going to think I've lost the plot. Anyway. The manager came over and was thrown out in short order, and I suppose deservedly. So, but that's teenage hormones for you. I let them get the better of me, but there's a lesson for you all. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to read any more of this. I want to save your next next story for next time. But dude, that is a harrowing tale of daring do that which really pissed me off. Yeah, don't let people get to you. I know it's easy for me to say, as somebody who also has a temper, but, you know, the only person who's winning there is him. And I've grown to understand over the years that, I think I've said it in other things, me holding resentment and anger towards somebody else is like pouring gasoline on myself and setting myself on fire because they've upset me. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Get back at him by not playing him again and quietly saying to him afterwards, listen, mate, just going to have to say to you, I didn't enjoy that game, and here's why. You know, these behaviours are not becoming of a hobbyist, in my opinion, and that's why, please don't ask me for a game again. There you go. And that's going to hit harder than any strop you give. And if he says, oh, you can't, mate, I lose every week, just tell him, you know, if you lose, yeah, I lose every week, mate. No one else has a problem. It's you. You're the odd one out. Trust me. Ask anybody else in here. Now, if you're a douche who's always a sore loser, then that's not going to work, is it? But if you're like Mayhem is here, and he's wanting to have fun, the best way to do it is just to pull somebody aside, and if they call you out and say, you're just being a sore loser, just say, mate, I lose all the time. And I never have a problem. You're the problem. And just leave it at that. You know, calm eye contact will do more than nearly any threat or bluster or anger you can throw out, honestly. Anyway, speaking of anger, I've been told this next one is going to really annoy me. So thank you, admins, for sending me this one and making sure that I read it. Toby Knifeear says, Knifeear is a racial slur against elves, and so I approve. Hey North, he says, long-time listener here who likes to have you on the radio on the way back from work. It's always amusing to hear the tales, and I think I have one for you. I know people don't really like relationship stuff in Hobby Nightmares, but this does hit home, trust me, okay? So me and my pal Andy are avid Age of Sigmar players. I know, get the pitchforks. Dude, like, here's the thing. If you like Age of Sigmar, you like Age of Sigmar. It's not a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's fine as a game. The lore is atrocious, and no one can convince me otherwise. I read it. I do read it. I read the wiki, right? I've got several army books. I read it. It's not for me. It reminds me of Mortal Kombat. It's nonsense. I'm not big on it, right? I'm not big on esoteric nonsense, hand-wavy magic nonsense. I don't like soft magic systems, really. Like, yeah, I just don't like them, and it just doesn't sit well with me. I love the old Warhammer world. Give me it back, Games Workshop. Anyway, yeah, but the models are fantastic, and the game's fine. The game's great. You can enjoy it. Don't let anyone tell you you can't. Anyway, he says, well, I play ogres. Good man. Good man. Best army in the game. Best army Games Workshop do, actually, ogres. I include Space Marines and Grey Knights in that. Best army. Ogres. Anyway. And he plays Orcs. This is Andy, his friend. He plays Orcs. So we almost always are either teaming up in games as a destruction team, or having knockdown slap fights in games where our two armies generally club each other into oblivion. Brilliant. Fantastic. Fun times. I've known him since we were both in the military together, and since then we both work in IT, which is great. I actually run a department on my own, which is pretty hands-off and requires me to just turn up to keep the wheels going. And he actually does a similar job, so we're not that stressed from work, which is great. Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm glad. You're living the dream. I've been happily single and playing the field for a few years, seeing different women for a time before eventually I get bored. I have no idea what's wrong with me on that front. Have I just not met the right one? Maybe that's a video for another time. Well, no, I'll address it now. There's nothing wrong with playing the field, dude. Nothing wrong at all. In fact, I would actually say, as a man, if you're in your 20s, you should not be married. Do not get married in your 20s. Do not get married in your early 30s. Late 30s is prime real estate for a man to get married. You've lived a life. You've had lots of notches on your bedpost. I'm sorry to say it, but it's important. It's important. You've got to get it out your system. You've got to get all that shagging out your system, dude. Or you are going to cheat when you're with your woman. You will find a woman that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you'll end up playing away from home because you haven't got it out your system. Right? You need to get it out your system. Get as much and as many as you can when you're younger. You know, different types, different races, different creeds, different people, different personalities. Have a smorgasbord, because at the end of the day, I always say this, if I ever have a son, I want to be able to sit there and actually give him solid advice on when a woman's doing his head in. I can't give him that advice if I'm this little runt who's like, that is harsh, I know, but if I'm this little runt who's only slept with like one person, that's my wife. I mean, all power to you if that's you, but if I'm your son, I'm not taking advice from you. Like, you married my mum when you were like 16, like, what are you going to tell me? You have nothing, you know what I mean? So it's like one of them things where, yeah, you need to get out there, you need to get out your system. From what you've said to me, I think you are in like your mid-20s, right? Like your mid to late 20s. So yeah, I would literally not worry about that at all, mate. I would literally carry on doing what you're doing, plow away, and don't hurt people, be honest. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing that people seem to not understand. There's nothing wrong with being a player if you're honest about it. In fact, a lot of women will respect that and be like, hey, not for me, and they'll move on. And you go, okay, not for you, and move on. But most women really do admire the fact that you're honest about it, and will come out and say, yeah, I'm seeing other people. Yeah, I'm having sex with other people. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what you think. And do you know what? A lot of the women who will get turned off by lies would stick around for that. Right? If you will, I say it all the time, if you will righteously leave, she will righteously stay. It's the sexiest word in Hollywood is no. Literally, if you just sit there and go, I don't care what you think, I'm keeping these other women, I'm gonna sleep with them. The amount of women who I've seen in the past who have stuck around way long after I assumed they would leave me because they knew I was sleeping with other people. We weren't in a relationship, they just kept dating me. Because I was honest about it. I was safe, I was honest. And they knew what they were getting was just what it said on the tin. I'm not trying to pull the wool over their eyes, I'm not trying to tell them that I've got worth that I don't have. If you don't like me, leave. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. There's nothing sexier than that in the world. Literally, there's nothing sexier than a man who knows his own worth. He goes, no, I'm okay, thank you. I'm okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, do you want a hug? No, thank you. I'm okay. Right? I literally saw, what was his name, from Seinfeld. I literally saw Jerry Seinfeld do exactly this the other day. Like, there was this clip of this really hot woman on a red carpet event who's, like, not interested in him at all, comes over and is like, hey, can I have a hug? And, you know, Jerry Seinfeld is a normal-looking dude. He goes, no, thank you. But I love your stuff. Thank you very much. Can I have a hug now? Can I have a hug now? Can I hug you now? No, thank you. No, I'm okay. Thanks. And she walks away, and she doesn't take her eyes off him. She keeps looking at him from the other side of the room. The camera's on him doing an interview, and she keeps looking at him and touching her hair. She wasn't doing that before he said those things. She wasn't doing that before he asserted himself and said, no, I'm better than your attention, thank you. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Dude, go and play the field, go and have fun. Anyway. Maybe that's a video for another time. No, it's not. I've given you the answer. There you go. You got 2 for 1 special. This is about Andy, he says. Of course, I changed his name to keep things anonymous. No problem, Toby. No problem, man. He has been married for around 8 years, happily, or so I was led to believe, to a woman here in Canada where we both work. Well, a few weeks ago, Andy just cut off all contact and didn't speak to me for a little while. He's been acting a little odd for a while and stopped coming to the local game store for our usual Rumble Fest. He would not return my phone calls or my texts. So one day last week, I just said, you know what, fuck it, and drove over there. That's a bro move, man. That is a Chad bro move. That is a brave thing to do, because you don't know where he is, you don't know what's going on, and he might not want you there, you know? That is a cool thing to do. You literally went out your way to get this guy out of the doldrums. Good lad. Toby says, I have pretty low self-esteem myself, so I was thinking I'd probably done something wrong, or he just decided he didn't like me anymore. Ah, yeah, that sucks, man. I hope you get help for that, or like you get people who can help you with that. That sucks. I'm like that too sometimes. If somebody doesn't talk to me, or if somebody says something normal to me, sometimes I'll assume that it's because they don't like me, or it's because of something. That's your inner voice putting you down, you know. Fuck that person. The human mind is wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, go figure. When I got there, he looked dishevelled and kind of tired. He asked me how I was, and we had a coffee before finally I just asked him to take a drive with me to get him out of the house. We drove through the snow to a local bar that is next door to my house. I parked my car there, and they don't charge me to park my car there since I'm there a few times a week. Over a few beers, he tells me he found out a few weeks back that his wife had been cheating on him. Oh, shit. And what is worse, his daughter is not actually his. Oh. I assume she came clean and told him that rather than, you know, a DNA test, because a DNA test takes longer. Or does it? I don't know. Never done it before, so I don't know. His wife finally came clean when an alert came through on the TV about a text sent to her phone. Certain TVs can do that if you link accounts. From her boyfriend. Ever since, Andy has been trying to save the marriage. Why? Why? I was honest with him and told him it is likely over, and he seems to be coming around, but hobby aside, he is a really good friend and I have no idea what to do. Andy also told me that he went to his local doctor and psychiatric nurse to get some prescriptions for depression. Okay, okay, I'll come back to this in a minute. Right, to get some prescriptions for depression. And they told him after reviewing his file that, get this, in a year or two, he can be legally euthanized if he wants, if things become too much. What? What? I read up on this, and this is an actual thing. Canada has ridiculously lax euthanasia laws where you can get it done for pretty spurious reasons beyond being in constant pain or with terminal illness, with no quality of life. How the hell could they tell a guy something like that at this moment in his life? What is going on with the world? He is slowly coming out of his hole and deciding what to do, but he still looks like a zombie. How can I get him to wake up and sort his life out? Sorry this has been as heavy as a nightmare, but still, I have no idea what to do. Best, Toby. What? That can't be true. That can't be true. I'll come back to that in a minute. I'm gonna address the relationship thing first, and I'm gonna pile in on that. I'm gonna approach it as if it is true, right? The euthanasia thing. I'm gonna approach it as if it is true, but I'm gonna go back and talk about the other stuff. Dude, the marriage is over. Leave. Marriage is over. As soon as she even looks, not looks. I mean, put it this way. Right. I'm a big believer in what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Okay. If you want to sleep with other women and you're in a marriage, discuss being open in your marriage with your wife if you want to keep her around. You probably shouldn't keep her around if you want to sleep with other women, but if you're determined to sleep with other women, you know, and if you think that it's the natural order of things that you want to sleep with other women, you know, it's the natural order to want to as a man. I completely agree with that, but it's not the natural order to go out and do it. If you know you're going to go out and do it, maybe discuss it with your wife and see if she's open to being in an open relationship. If she's not, then leave. The one thing you have to be, though, dude, if you want that open relationship, you have to be okay with her going out as well. right? With her going out and doing her thing as well. The one reason, I've been with pretty promiscuous girls in the past, but the one reason why they've never come to me wanting an open relationship is because they know what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So, I say that to them as well. Whenever it's been brought up, or even hinted at, I shut it down and say, yeah, I'll do it. But I'm telling you now, you can give it away, so it's not worth as much to you. You're going to go and try and find the perfect guy to go and sleep with. I'll sleep with anyone because I'm in my mid-20s at the time when this was going on. I'm in my mid-20s. I've got the skill to pull, and you know I can go out to the city and pull every weekend if I wanted to. So yeah, you can let me you can put me in an open relationship if you want, fine. But I'm going to be getting laid more than you. You know what I mean? I'm going to be getting like better quality people than you. So why would you want to do it? That's the only reason why I've not been in one. Is because like I will either leave because it's not for me, right? Or if I don't really care about the woman, or if it's a woman that I want to see, but I'm not really, I'm not too bothered, then I will say, look, yeah, okay, well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Are you okay with me sleeping with other women? Because I'm telling you now, I know you. You're a high value woman. You're not gonna just sleep with anybody. I'm a man. I will just sleep with anybody. So that shuts that down pretty quick. So if you're a guy and you want to sleep around, bring it up. But be wary. Always have it in your mind. What's good for the goose and all that. Fairness. If it's open, it's open. If you can handle that, go for it. I know people in open relationships and it works pretty well. I know a guy who lives, and get this, he lives with 2 women. Yeah, both of them are his girlfriends. He lives with 2 women. And he's sleeping with both of these 2 women. And he says to them, look, if you want to go out and find some strange, go for it. No problem. No problem. And they do. Like, his women go out, they get tested and all that, they go out, they come back, and he lives with them and he's fine. And he says, yeah, the only way this would work is if we're all honest with each other and we all go out and get some strange. And he says to me, he's brought women back before to enjoy his girlfriends with him. It's like, but he says, yeah, you've got to be open and honest and be like, yeah, what's good for the goose, you go and do what you want to do and I'll do what I want to do. And that's the only way it really works, as far as he's concerned, and I take that to the bank because he's actually doing it, right? So, that's my advice if you want an open relationship. Dude, this situation is not one of those situations. It's not. This is over. This is done. Because not only, this woman has taken your trust and run it through a shredder, she has treated you with no respect whatsoever. She's kept this from you, and she's only admitted it when she was caught. That's the worst thing. She's admitted it when she was caught. What a douchebag. And also, she's let you bring up another man's child, dude. She's hoodwinked you. This is the worst kind of cuckolding. She's hoodwinked you into raising another man's child that he's got away with for years. Dude, leave this hoe. Leave this hoe. Put her in the sea. I don't care if you love her. I don't care if you love her. I don't care if you think this is the woman. Dude, let me tell you, literally, this ain't the mother of your kids. Literally. This ain't the mother of your kids. Because 1, the kid isn't yours. Number 2, this ain't... You cannot have more kids with this woman. You can't. This would be... This cannot go on. Like if you have more kids, what are you going to say to them when they get older? Oh yeah, what about our older sister? Oh yeah, she got a different dad. Why? Because your mum's a hoe. That's what you're going to want to say, isn't it? That's going to be inside. You don't deserve to live with this for the rest of your life. You don't deserve this. Kick it to the curb. Get rid of her. You don't deserve to have that cancerous cancer eating away at the centre of your being for the rest of your life. No matter how many times you lie to yourself and you say you've forgiven her, you will never forgive her. Not deep down. Not on the basest level. You will never forgive her. And if you have more kids with this woman, and they say, oh, and they will eventually know that they have different dads, you're going to have to say, they've got different dads. Why? And you're going to want to say, because your mum's a fucking whore. That's what you're going to want to say. Leave. Leave and rebuild. There is no coming back from this. I'm sorry, there isn't. There isn't. There absolutely isn't. Cheating's done. Done. If I would even say, even if your wife comes back to you and wants an open relationship, if you don't want one, leave. Leave. It's done. It's finished. Eventually she will cheat. It's done. It's finished. It's over. Leave. I'm being honest, dude. I'm being honest. Alright? That's one thing. And you can say I don't know your situation all you want. Mate, I know enough. I know enough. Leave. Go. Goodbye. And with the being told for euthanasia thing, that is terrifying. That is a terrifying thing. And this is the plight of the modern man. This is why, as much as I don't like many parts of the manosphere and all that, I do think it's a necessary thing. Because this is what we're faced with in this age. A man goes to seek professional help because his wife cheated on him and is told to kill himself. Are you fucking shitting me? Are you actually shitting me? Dude. You know what you should do? This is directly to Andy. You should live on just to tell these people to fuck off. Every single day of your life. Just rub it in their nose. Yeah, I'm a man. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stand here. I'm going to do well in my job. I'm going to get laid. I'm going to ruin other women for other men. Do you know why? Because you told me to go kill myself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Don't you dare listen to that weak-willed bullshit. That beta weak-willed bullshit. Don't listen to it. Nonsense. Nonsense. Pick up your pants, right? Strap them on. Get a nice shirt on. Cry and cry and cry and cry and cry. Let it all out. Hit your head against the wall if you have to. Let it all out. Let it all out. Get to the gym. Get to the pub. Get to the club. Talk some shit. And you will be fine. You'll be fine. These hoes aren't worth it. People who do this kind of thing to you are not worth it. If you fucking dare, if I find out that you've done something stupid, right? I swear to God. I swear to God. I'm gonna call Toby a knobhead. That'll be on you. That'll be on you. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I'm gonna reply to this with my email address, right? Come to me, talk to me. Do not do anything fucking... I fucking swear. If I find out that this low-life hoe scumbag has brought you to a pass like that, right? You've got me pointing at my screen like a knobhead. Don't. And don't listen to these fucking stupid doctors and nurses, right? Don't listen to them. Now, I would like to think that that is a misinformation that I've been given there, and that's not real. If it is real, Jesus Christ, we are at a crossroads here in terms of how men are treated in the modern world. I'm telling you now. I am here for you. Email me, talk to people on the Discord. We're not toxic. We're not going to tell you to, screw women. No. Nothing like that. You can be a strong man without being a douche, right? And we will try and tell you how to do that. But please, don't fight it alone. Come and speak to us. Come and have a word with us. It's on the Discord down below. Fuck me, that was heavy. That was a heavy one. God, my footage ran out. That's how long this has been going on for. Anyway, you got your money's worth, I guess. I love you all long time. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will speak to you on Sunday, where we will be talking about stress and how to combat it in the modern world, I guess. Love you all long time. I'll speak to you then. And on Monday, we'll be doing another Games Workshop story from another staff member, which is hilarious, and I can't wait to read that one out. I'll see you then. Have a good one. Love you. Bye.